This is tape number 2 on September 30th, recorded at the Hofburg, the scene of the International Conference of the Red Cross. It's an interview by Dick Gluns with Mr. J.T. Roy MacAulay, chairman of the Sierra Leone Red Cross, and Mrs. Nancy Massaquoi, also of the Sierra Red Cross. I am recording this for the International Committee of the Red Cross and the League of Red Cross Societies. This is Dick Gluns speaking from the International Conference of the Red Cross at the Hofburg Palace in Vienna. I have with me 2 delegates from the Sierra Leone Red Cross. They are Mr. J.T. Roy MacAulay, chairman, and Mrs. Nancy Massaquoi, a district official. Both are volunteers of the Sierra Leone Red Cross. Now, Mr. MacAulay, I would call you Mr. MacAulay, but Mr. Roy MacAulay, you have been in Vienna for a few days now. What has been your main interest?
My main interest is what goes on first at the West African Conference convened here at Hofburg, and next at the Board of Governors meeting, and finally at the Council of Delegates from all over the world in connection with the 20th International Red Cross Conference.
Now, you met for several days, this West Africa group. They were a part of the development program. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
And what is the development program?
Well, the development program, as you know, was initiated in the 1963 Congress and was made practical in 1964 with a draft program which commenced in 1965. The main aim is that it was intended to help new national societies to develop those aspects of Red Cross work in their respective territories with a view to putting the Red Cross idea over to the peoples of those territories.
Now
It has as its basis self-help predominantly among those societies, and next the help of the League of Red Cross Societies.
Well, that self-help idea that you're expressing certainly takes it away off from that charity angle.
Yes, it does, because it makes one feel more self-respecting if he is able to do as much for himself as he possibly can.
What will it do to the Sierra Leone Red Cross?
It enables the people to understand the nature of the society, that it was out to help people at grassroots level, not just one section of the community. And not only does it exist for peacetime activity, but much more so in wartime or other incidents that may be common to disturbances in any territory.
How will you and your associates implement some of the aims of the development program?
Well, we have, in the past, as now, tried to reach the country first by establishing a blood donor panel, and we work in very close contact with our hospitals. We also reach the lower stratum of society by food distribution, and we reach the women and children by running milk clinics in various centers of the country. We help establish junior Red Cross links in very many schools in the country, and arising out of these, we have been able to see very successful results.
Now, will you be carrying on? I've heard a lot about this business of health education that's needed so badly in Africa. Will you be carrying on a project of that type?
Yes, we will be carrying on a project of this type. As a matter of fact, we have started one on a small scale in collaboration with a health team in the northern province of the country. And we are looking forward to the help of the WHO, which is an agency of the United Nations, for as much help as it can possibly give the Red Cross in this direction.
Are you working closely with the various governmental organizations as well?
We are, and we do so in connection with the social welfare services, who get their help to some extent from the various agencies of the government and partially from United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization.
Now, have you ever received help from the Red Cross before in any manner?
Oh yes, we have received help in various ways. First, in personnel. We have had a trainer who has been to the country and trained first aiders at grassroots level. Then we have had several field officers from the British Red Cross Society. And then lately, we had, on request, a grant from the Empress Chokan Fund, which is administered by the Joint Committee of the Red Cross League and the International Committee of Red Cross, out of which we bought a Land Rover, which we are now using for another project in the country.
I imagine with your large country and the travel plans there are rather disturbing at times, that a Land Rover would be quite an asset to your work.
That is precisely so. Transport difficulties present quite a barrier towards progress in this connection. And the more of help we can receive in this direction, especially of that type of vehicle, the better would be, the quicker would be the progress we would make.
Now, on your health education work, are you going to aim it at adults or children or both?
We're going to aim first at children, because it's easier for the children to take home with them what they have learned at school and therefore put over to their parents, who in simple way can understand what these children tell them.
Mr. Roy MacAulay, what are some of your impressions of the international conference here in Vienna?
Well, my first impression is the great assembly of a number of people from various parts of the world. One would have never been able to meet such concourse of people from different parts if one just sat at home without coming out to such conferences. It has been most rewarding indeed to share your experiences, not only in Red Cross work, but in other activities and spheres of life, which you normally never would have had if the conference had not provided the opportunity.
Well, we're very happy to hear of your observations, and I imagine that is the opinion of the 83 some odd societies who are present here with the delegations, and of course when they have the actual international conference following the League of Red Cross Societies meetings, I think you will be further impressed. Thank you very much, Mr. J.T. Roy MacAulay, Chairman of the Sierra Leone Red Cross. Now I'm going to talk to Mrs. Nancy Massaquoi. Mrs. Massaquoi, what is your role in Red Cross?
I am a volunteer.
You are a volunteer of the Sierra Leone Red Cross?
Yes.
Now, what do you do?
Well, I am a president in one of the divisions in our country. I come from the east, and the capital town which I come from is Kenewra.
And after this experience here at the Red Cross Conference, no doubt you're going back all fired up to recruit a lot more volunteers. Are they easy to come by? Can you find a lot of them?
Yes. I hope to recruit more volunteers.
Now, what do you do in the way of work for the Red Cross?
Well, as a matter of fact, I go out on days when we have activities in the town, such as school-to-school program and junior work. I go about helping the sick people and distributing milk in hospitals to sick people.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Nancy Massaquoi of the Sierra Leone Red Cross. We're happy to have this opportunity to talk to you. But I'm going to go back now and talk to Mr. J.T. Roy MacAulay about one other point, and that is been a project, a pilot project more or less, of the Canadian Red Cross Society, the Canadian Junior Red Cross, with the Sierra Leone Red Cross, and they call it a school-to-school project. How does it work?
Well, the school-to-school project is a very enterprising and interesting aspect, quite new to a place like Sierra Leone in connection with the Red Cross Society. We originally exchanged a list of schools in the whole country with a similar list of schools in Canada through the Canadian Red Cross Society. And they in turn promised us, and in fact have sent us, the cost of a new Land Rover. And at the same time, they have already started sending several parcels of various things like crayon, exercise books, in fact, writing material for use in schools and clubs. These have in turn been passed to these schools in Sierra Leone, and they in Sierra Leone have produced albums, and stamp albums and photograph albums and print albums, which they have in turn sent across to the Junior Red Cross in Canada. One interesting aspect of this school-to-school program is this, that the project came from the school. It's not an aspect of the, what you might call, adult section of the Canadian Red Cross at all. And that is a real eye-opener to voluntary organizations such as we have in Sierra Leone, where young people on their own, with very little assistance, can raise sums of money to help the opposite number in another continent.